welcome everybody. Right, isn't this a fun way to connect? Hi guys. So let's begin today on the ground. It would be nice if you had some props with you today. If you don't have any props, it's okay. Do what you can. Namaste. So happy you guys are here. Yay. Alright. So as we take ourselves all the way back and down, okay, we're just going to get comfortable through the shoulders and the hips. So however you want to place the legs so that your shoulders and your hips are comfortable. I'm going to start today with my knees bent. I'm going to knock them together. I'm even going to take my hands to my belly. Okay, you can choose how you position your hands as well. And then maybe it's those little movements, right? Getting comfortable, making sure there's no bound flesh beneath you. Right, as you close your eyes, let's move into the breath. Right, on the inhale, fill. And the exhale, open your mouth side up. We'll do those restorative breaths a couple times. So inhale through the nose, if you can. Open your mouth and exhale. It feels really good in the chest, right? Inhale. Just let it out. Follow that breath. Keep exhaling. Expel, expel. Now do a couple more of those if you want, or just close the lips and start to find a nice even breath where the exhale is as long as the inhale, or vice versa. Maybe we want to take the shorter inhale and stretch it out to the long exhale. Your body is going to be like a sponge, so just soak. Feel that sensation of that oxygen soaking into every part of you. Right, we are porous, we are fibrous, right? We have all of these spaces, so let's fill them with our breath. As you continue this pattern, I also wanted to sort of make this class called Clean Slate Yoga. So really trying to erase the week that we've had, taking ourselves down to that nice clean chalkboard or whiteboard, right? Just preparing ourselves for the new week. Even if the days seem to be blending together, we will make this the end of the week yoga practice, clean slate, beginning the new week, fresh and ready. Let's start to turn the head from side to side. Pick up any cues the body is telling you as you're moving. Last time from side to side. And bring the head back to center. Let's reach the legs far in front of us. Let's lift the arms up and over our head. Back a little bit. And do a nice full body stretch. Reach long. Reach, reach, reach into toes, into fingers. Feel your ribs lift so there's a little space underneath the back. And then on the exhale, can you interlace your fingers? So I'm interlacing my fingers, pushing my palms away. But what I'm going to do is flex my feet. I don't know if you can see my edges. I'm going to flex my feet and I'm going to pull in towards the midline and I'm going to sink the low ribs to the earth. Keep your elbows straight if you can. Feet are flexed. So you're in a long line, but you've really condensed your line and you can feel that in the body, condensed. Inhale, reach long, that's our breath. In, nice, long, and then exhale, right? Give the body a squeeze, right? Inhale to lengthen, stretch and open, and exhale, compress. Good, one more round. Inhale, and then exhale. Good. Let's take our arms out to the side walls. Bend at the elbows if you need to. Come up onto the toes. Let's take the knees over to the right side of the room. Turn your head to the left side of the room. And a couple of breaths here. Noticing the spots that are tight, noticing any part of the body that's speaking to you. That's communication. That is a hint or a clue, right, on how you're feeling. Let's bring the knees to center. You can squeeze the knees to center, tone the belly, tone those low ribs. As you do that, just make sure the low back feels okay. Otherwise, separate the knees for a beautiful, easy transition. Use your exhales, right? Clean out the body. As we start to transition from side to side at a breath pace, that's the pace of your own choosing. I do challenge you to make it last as long as your breath. So if you want it a little quicker, then your breath is shorter. If you can go for a longer, then you have a beautiful long breath and a nice slow twisting from side to side. Here in Hawaii, I'm not sure where you guys, but I know a lot of people who tuned in today are from here, but Denny, you're not. Julia, you're not either. So we've had a lot of rain, a lot of clouds. So it's as if Mother Nature is requesting us to stay inside, which possibly is helpful for people to be isolated, but for someone like me who just wants to go on a neighborhood walk, really hard. It's been hard. I've gotten in a couple this week, but not as many as I normally would. So it's been interesting. I've actually had to turn on a lot of lights in here because it's super dark and it's 9 in the morning, but there's just no sun. There's no sun outside in Monowilly. Let's come back to center. As you press the feet down, I just want to make sure that you are solely on the center line of the spine. So maybe pick up the hips, tuck the tail, and lower it back down. Let's bring those knees into the hands. Holding onto the knees with fingers forward or taking the hands behind the knees. Right? What we're going to do is start here with a straight elbow so that the knees are stacked over the hips. This is a breath in. The spine, the body is just pretty much hanging out. On an exhale, maybe it's an adjustment of the hands, turning the fingers in towards midline. As you pull the knees into the chest, I'd like you to keep as much of that low back, almost all the way to the coccyx, down on the earth. So maybe put a little space between the knees, and I want your spine to lift. Pull your shoulders down towards the earth. This is where it's nice to have those broad elbows. On the inhale, readjust the hands, maybe even to fingertips, those knees could go forward. On the exhale, pull down through the arms, lift up through the spine. Inhale, you relax, you reset, and exhale. The spine is really active. That long line behind you is sucking up and in. You almost want to feel like a sandwich. You're pressing your upper body and your down and your lower body up. Couple more rounds. Notice the pattern. One part is very active and the other part is not. And we go back and between effort and ease. Last round. Good. From here, let's start to draw little knee circles. Your knees do not need to be touching. You can kiss those toes, widen those knees, or if you prefer to have the thighs touching, either way. I want you to start to just draw some free-form circles on the sacrum. So no direct pattern except for a spiraling line. If your low back was a pen and the ground was a paper, you're just doodling, drawing these circles, moving it over towards the right, moving it over towards the left, maybe it's the upper left. And eventually you are trying to explore the entire area as long as your fingers can reach. That's why we keep touching the legs. So you can still be behind, it's the same thing. We are touching the legs to keep an area, right? To keep that, we know that we're still rolling on this low back. Not getting too crazy too fast. All right, let's come back to center and take space between the knees. Try to relax your shins and your feet. You could always flex the feet to support those knees, but we're trying to get the groin to relax fully, so the knees as open as wide as is comfortable, but try not to restrain. Some people stop. Oh, that's good enough. Try to go all the way. If it feels too much, then of course back it up. And then from here, you're gonna pull your knees towards your armpit, and then you're gonna straighten. Again, hands can be either place. Always choose what's best for your knees. Right. Juicing up the outside, the really edge of the hip, and stretching the groin. So 2 in 1. Last time. Let's bring the knees back to center. Let's flex that left foot. Push it forward today. Push it all the way to the front edge of your mat and lower it down as you bring the right knee in towards the right ribs. Okay. See how tight it feels, and then start to carve it out to the side. As you hold it out wide, depending on how tight it is, you can start to move it around. We were just kind of here. Maybe it feels okay. Then we're going to bring the knee back to center, switch it into your left hand. Not a twist, but an outer hip awareness. So moving, using the hand to move the knee so that you can say hi to the outer hip and explore the area. All right, back and forth, whether you like it close to the body or a little bit further away. Like finding your boundaries, finding your edges, and also in between. Remember that grabbing of the ankle? I did this the other day. Grabbing of the ankle with the left hand and bringing that shin diagonally in towards the abdomen like a pigeon pose. This is really nice, gets into the butt, into the glutes. So I do a little activation of the spine, the dropping of the elbows, that sandwiching effect. 2 things pulling in to the middle, to the center. And if you want to gently rock that, if it's too tight, please don't make any quick movement, nice and slow. Maybe we should all just go in the kitchen and grab like a jar of honey and place it by our mat. So anytime we want to accomplish something that might be a little bit too much for us, we think about that sweetness, we think about that honey, and we persuade our body with our breath, with our thoughts. Right, just with that love. All right, let's go ahead and grab our strap. A kitchen towel works, maybe a beach towel, a bath towel, a men's tie, a karate belt, a yoga strap works well too. And then let's go ahead and pull the toes towards the shin. So the heel is pushing up towards the ceiling, right? I like to use a hand every once in a while and just say, oh, hello. I feel it more in my calf than I do my hamstring, so I tend to want to be up here. You can always put a bend in the knee, take some of that intensity away. So we start with not too much movement. As we've been here for a couple of breaths, we start to try some movement. Whether it's slow and big or small and a little faster, we check it out. And gravitate towards those tighter areas. If you move through a certain space and there's nothing tight, then move on, right? There's a lot going on in the back of the leg. You've got your upper leg, the back of the knee, the calf, all the way to Achilles tendon. So we do hang out here. Roll it into the inner thigh if you choose. Roll it to the outer thigh. Start to get a more accurate picture of your leg. Not just the back center line, but as it blends out and blends in, as it wraps around the leg. How about this? Today, let's do a quad stretch here. So you're going to take your foot to the side, to the right side. You can leave the strap on or you can take the strap off. Mindful of your knee. As this foot comes over to the right side, you're going to drop your inner knee to the mat. If you want to lift your head, I'd like you to see that you have a straight line from your right shoulder to your right hip to your right knee. If your knee is too far over to the left side, you're not going to get the most bang for your buck. You're not going to get this big quad and hip flexor stretch. You could even take your left foot if you wanted to and place it on top as a weight. I wouldn't suggest doing this if you have any sort of an issue with that right knee. Quad stretch, hip flexor stretch. Take a couple more breaths. Let's go ahead and reach forward through that left foot if you use it as a weight. Gently, kindly, foot flex, bring the knee up. Focus on transitioning with that knee all in mind. Good. As we bring that foot back up towards the ceiling, grab the straps with your, let's grab it with our left hand. We're going to do a full body twist or any version of that. So as you take the leg cross midline of body, go slow, and maybe right here is where you stop. The only reason, or the reason you'd want to stop the most is if you have low back issues and you're feeling a lot of tension and you think, oh, I want to stretch that. Not necessarily. If you have been anywhere near a low back distressful point, right, if you've had any injury or any triggering lately, don't do a full body twist. I wouldn't suggest it. If you can take the foot over and you're just feeling a tiny bit of stretch in that low back, that's awesome. If you want, move your head, move your shoulders, scooch them to the left. Get your heart to face up. Get that right shoulder without forcing it. It's the positioning of the scooching of the head and the shoulders over to the left that allows the back of that right shoulder to come down. And then you can turn your head and gaze to your right fingers. Breathe. Let's go one more breath. Put a big bend in that right knee as you bring it back up to center. Grab one strap per hand, adjust your body line, make sure you're nice and straight. And now I want you to push back through the hip and I want you to start to elevate your left leg. Maybe put a bend in the knee the first time. As you bring the leg all the way up, flex that foot, tone the belly, and slowly start to lower that heel towards the earth. If it gets too much, put the bend in the knee. I know I said this was a gentle stretch. So maybe keep the bend in the knee the whole time. For those of you who want to amp it up a little bit, go straight through the back of the leg, through the heel, reaching forward, and like someone's stepping on your belly. Push down through those ribs. Keep it nice and connected to the earth behind you. You can let go of the strap. You can use just a little bit of pressure or a lot. How much do you want to help yourself this morning? You kind of decide. We're a buffet, right? You can pick and choose. Let's bend that left knee, take the sole foot to the earth, remove your strap, cross your ankle over your thigh, push forward through the upper thigh. So right here at the hip crease, push forward, arch the back significantly, drop the shoulders, and check in. Any stretch happening here, let's modify if needed. So if you feel no stretch here, you try something different. If you feel a stretch, stay as you are. Right hand in between, left hand to the outside or behind. Pull those legs in. Now what do you feel? A little bit of massage, taking that point of tightness and sort of rubbing it with movement. Taking the legs over to the left. What does that feel like? All movement is deliberate, mindful, full of breath. Let's place our left foot down. Let's inhale to lift our right heel up into the sky. Take a breath, fill it. On the exhale, float it to the earth. Once it gets all the way down to the mat, I want you to just relax the whole leg from the hip down and flop your foot from side to side like a very loose windshield wiper. We're in picnic pose. Let's take it. Hands crossed over belly and breathe. I want you to use those exhales and feel all of the tension, all of the effort, any sensation you're feeling that feels anything like effort. I want you to usher it out with your exhale. Washing away the weak, wiping away the stress, ushering out the tension, the anxiety. Let it go. Let's go ahead and bring the left knee into the chest. The right leg is already where it could be, so keep it there. And let's start to use our hands to take our knee out wide. And as it's out wide, we just move it around a little bit. Or if it's super duper tight, just hang in there. Use your breath. When you're ready to explore the midline, or should I say explore the outer hip, then take that knee a little bit cross midline of body and add some movement. A lot of this practice is consistency, right? That dedication to not just having yoga be something that we partake in every once in a while. It's something that we add to a daily or a weekly schedule and keep it consistent. Start to move your knee all around, explore the area. So much of my balancing, let's call that the balancing of the muscles, has come from those years of practice, and for me, years of teaching, which is what I've always been grateful for, because as the teacher I've had to go to class. Nothing else was more important that day than going to class, and it has paid off in spades. I have to say, gratitude towards this mindful practice. And it's not really attaining a certain level of flexibility like the splits or something overly flexible. It's been more that balance, that finding the sweet spot. There it is again, that word, sweet spot between flexibility and strength. You want to grab a hold of that ankle, maybe flex the foot for support. Turn the knee out so the shin is at a diagonal and gently bringing it in towards the belly. You could lift the spine a little bit and breathe. Where does the stretch go? It could be a little bit on inner thigh too, right? But it's the butt, the glute that we're looking for. Maybe a little bit of movement. I love the fact that we're not stuck. You know, I love the moving through the sensation of pain, because that's what the stretch feels like. And it's so freeing to me to have that idea of moving through something difficult. I like a little bit of movement. And as you bring the knee to center, let's grab a hold of the strap. Take it to the sole of the foot, push the foot up towards the ceiling. Flex the foot and check in right away. Where's the tightness? Where's your mind now go straight to? When you're ready for that subtle rocking of the foot, circling of the leg, whatever it is, when you're ready, that's when you do it. Inner thigh, outer thigh, hamstring, calf, Achilles tendon, sort of blurring the lines between them. Not picking one specific area or neighborhood to stay in. Let's bring it all together. Taking the straps into the right hand, full body twist or whatever version. As we start going cross midline, that's where you check in, slow it down. We do miss a lot when we rush. So the slower we can go, the more detail we're picking up. The foot does not need to go all the way to the ground. Wherever you go to stop, remember, shoulders and head a little bit over to the right will do you a world of good as you reach out the left arm and roll the head to the left side. It almost feels like the exhales are sighs of acceptance. Whoosh. Last breath. Okay, roll your head back to center. Put a big bend in the knee. Bring the leg up to the middle. Adjust your body line. And we're going to flex that free leg and foot, and maybe even the knee. Flex the knee and start bringing that leg up so we can see where we're at. As you tone the belly, pull the low ribs to the earth. Really visualize someone stepping on your belly. Broad step. Feet aren't tiny. So from the pelvic bone all the way up to the diaphragm, almost push down. And you're going to start to play with your free leg, whether it's in a bent position or straight. The movement is slow. And it's just down and up. This isn't our core yoga class. This isn't our core strength class. But we're just saying a little teeny tiny hi to it. Just hello. Try not to hold your breath when that leg is going down. Make sure you are exhaling. Support it. When you're ready, we're going to bend that right knee, take the sole of the foot to the ground. We're going to cross our left ankle over our right thigh. You push your thighs forward, flex the foot for knee support. Big arch in the back, a big arch. Hands can fit. And then get quiet a moment. What do you feel? Not quite enough for you? Go ahead and modify. So that word modification in yoga should mean either way. It doesn't always mean easier. Right? Modification means you're taking a pose. This is the pose. You shouldn't, not necessarily, this might be overstretching. This is the pose, so this is the position. If you don't feel anything, keep in mind that that means you're doing pretty good. There are lots of people who are right here and it's a big stretch for them. So this isn't where we always want to go. This is a modification. This is an alteration of the pose. It's not the standard part of it. So if you need this to feel the stretch, know that you're pretty open, and how much more do you need? Really question. I always try to question that. How much more do I need? Do I need a big stretch there? If I do, give it to yourself. Maybe you don't sometimes. That's good. I'll stay right here. Let's take a big breath and inhale to lift that foot up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, you're going to reach that foot forward and lower it all the way down. Once the foot comes to the mat, you're going to windshield wiper your foot from side to side. Let's do our picnic pose, hands over the low ribs, elbows are wide maybe, just get the shoulders to relax, close the eyes, part the lips. It's an interesting sensation sometimes in the leg after a deep stretch. And I'd have to say if I felt that at another time, I might not even like that sensation. It can be a lot, and we have to really gauge how much stretch we need. Let's bring both knees into chest, give ourselves a squeeze, a hug, and we're gonna round the spine. So I have my knees wide. I do that because I don't want my trochanter, right, the femur bone, to rub onto the inside of my hip joint. So I'm gonna walk my hands up, roll, 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 and I'm gonna round my form. So I'm gonna compact and I'm gonna tuck my chin, take a couple breaths. My tailbone is slightly lifted. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Drop your shoulders one more time. Right. From here, let's roll into fetal pose or rock back and forth. Let's come off of the spine. And I want you to go into that child's pose. It's a beautiful transition, coming off of the back, coming off of something so gentle. We take it into a forward position, gentle. So child's pose. Bigger knees always helps. Wherever the hips go, maybe the hips want here. Maybe you need to put a support behind the knees so that you don't get too much of a compression, too much of a degree of bend. That might be too much. I've had times in my life where this is too much for my knees. I would need less. I would want less. Pick the hips up. Gather the hands underneath the forehead. Take a couple of breaths here as you settle. Let's exhale and relax. Spread out. Let's do that again. Start to sway the body a little bit from side to side. I love the side body stretch in child's pose. Right arm off to the right side. Left hand above the right hand and gently pull back into the left hip. Breathe. The most place you should, the area your mind should be going to is the ribs. The side of the body. The armpit, not the top of the arm. If you feel the top of the arm, back it up a little bit. Breathe. Today, let's bring the hips back to center, and we're going to take that left hand to the front of the mat. You're going to come up onto your fingertips, walk them forward, pull back through the hips, and get just a body line extension, so long extension. Again, if you're feeling this, not in the ribs, the armpits, or the side of the body, come back with the hand just a wee. As a matter of fact, let's also try this. I forgot this one. Walk your hand back, actually. Let your elbow go out to the side. And now pull back through your shoulder. Pull back. Pull back. From the hand, pull back. One more. Yeah, let's go the other side. So left hand, left arm to the left side. Right hand above. Sink into your right hip. One more breath. We can walk that hand center, come up on those fingertips, inch, inch, inch forward. Then put a bend in the elbow, open the palm, and then draw back. Draw back not just with your hand, but also the shoulder blade. All right, let's come to our elbows today. So instead of going up to the hands, the elbows. Now for somebody who has something wrong with their, right, if you have some sort of condition going on with the forearm, the elbow, then you would pick hands. But let's try, so for those of you who usually go on your hands, try your elbows today. We're gonna do some backward shoulder loops. How crunchy does it sound? Which one is more crunchy than the other? Let's go forward. And just look at all this play in your chest. So on your shoulders, really. So it's the chest that I guess I said because that's where I notice it going down and up. But this is how much room we have. We're extended out of our shoulders and we're pulled into our shoulders. Maybe too much is dumping. Too high, you're out of your shoulders. Come halfway down and then your shoulders are like paper clips. So they're wrapping around the torso from the chest to the back. That's where you want to be. That's the best place to be. Right, for stability. Okay, let's do our little side-to-side hips. For movement, you probably want to soften those shoulders a little bit. You're just aware of what our body can do, being more mindful of positioning. Let's come back to center. We're going to do cat-cow, so we can do cat-cow on our elbows. Some of you are cursing me. If you're cursing me, go ahead and take it up to the hands. But I challenge you to try something different. Cat-cow on your forearms. It's not less. There's nothing less about this. As a matter of fact, it almost makes you try harder to get that stretch in the front and the back of the body. Because you don't have your shoulders going out of the body too much. One more round. This takes off so much pressure off the wrist. It's amazing. Pull the hips back. Right. Maybe lift those elbows, widen the hands a little bit, get a nice long back extension. Really nice to think of our joints, especially wrists, knees. You'll hear me mention them many times. Take another breath. Ooh, let's do this. Come onto the elbows, rock forward a little bit, tuck your toes. As you make your way back, stretching the soles of the feet, be careful, be mindful. There's a lot of bones in our feet, so we want to get a stretch on the bottom of the foot, but also caretake those toes. Widen the heels, perhaps. Find the rest of the toes, so we're not just going to focus on big toes. This is where the hips, again, can come into play. A little smudge, a little smear from side to side. Come to center. Belly's going to go down to the earth. Right, so make sure that knee pillow, knee support is at the knees and the shin. As you come all the way down, I don't know if you can see my head or not, hopefully. Not much going on in my head anyways, right? Widen the knees. Oh, I'm not trying to put myself down. Place those thumbs, separate those fingers. Let's do a big backward shoulder loop. So how you start is pulling them up to your ears, the ceiling, and then slide it down. Point your elbows behind you. Put a little energy into your hands. Hug your belly in, activate your legs, and cobra. So chest opener and exhale. Watch out for that low back. Do that big movement again through the shoulders, backward, and lift. Activate your legs. Hug, hug, hug. One more. And exhale. Let's diamond shape those arms. I want you to just move your thighs a little out to in movement, a little, almost like a little bounce, bounce, bounce. And we're going to pick up our feet. We're going to stack it over our knees, and we're going to windshield wiper. You could think of a bigger car today. Let's go for a Cadillac. Which is the car that used to have just like one windshield wiper? Wasn't it like a Mercedes-Benz? And it was so weird because obviously I didn't live around a lot of them when I was growing up. So when I see, whoa, what was that? You just see this big windshield. One, what was that? Whoa. I don't know. Do you see that anymore? Have we all gone to standard 2 windshield wipers? There was even a car that had 2 windshield wipers, but one was extraordinarily long. It was like, whoa. Catch my eye. All right, so we're giving our belly a nice little massage on the ground, digestive system. Always good to cleanse and clear that area. Let's come back to center. Take the tops of the feet to the earth. Place those hands back where they were. So your thumbs are on the mat, your fingers are not, right around the jawline. Do your big backward shoulder loop. Energize the spine, squeeze those legs, point all 10 toes back, long neck, and breathe. Exhale it out. Let's do it again. Inhale. And exhale. Sometimes they can build gently, kindly, so that there's no low back compression and you can get higher. You don't have to get higher. It's a nice chest opening, but not worth low back compression. So make sure if you're going up, you're not feeling any pain in your low back. One more time. Your height, your version. And exhale. Bring your hands into your lower ribs. I like to save my wrists, so I go for those fists and push down, lift up. And this time, downward facing dog. Place your hands in front of you, tuck those toes, get those knees off the mat, and start to pedal one heel back at a time. If it feels tight, don't rush on to the other side just yet. Hang your head, give a nice gaze back at those legs. If this is too much on the shoulders, please go down to child's pose. It's nice to have the offering, and you're always free to pick and choose which poses you partake and which poses you skip. Downward facing dog is a pose that can be very strenuous to the shoulders, and also when not done with a flat back, right, it can just bear a lot more weight onto the shoulders. So a lot of times you see backs that are rounded, hearts that are too far forward. We're not trying to put a big arch in the back, but you want this long streamline from fingertips to hips. All right, let's drop down to the knees. Walk your hands back in towards the body. Swing your feet to one side. Your hands are going to go to the other side. We're going to take a seated pose real quick. So let's grab a hold. I'm going to use blocks to sit. I like blocks to sit, right? You have what you like to do. I also use my knee pillow. Crack on the knee every time. All right. Class is about an hour long. I've seen on TV, there's so many things to our fingertips now. As I was trying to find music on the TV, I saw and it said recently viewed. Who in this house watched it? I'm not sure, it wasn't me. Recently viewed 20-minute stretch. And I thought, oh, that's cool, right? 20 minutes, this class is an hour. If you only want 20 minutes, I'm telling you what, so many more resources are coming out for us. So I appreciate you wanting to be with me. I want to connect with you, so that's why I'm doing it. But you can certainly pick a 20-minute stretch. I probably will watch it later just to see what they do. Thumbs up, right? That's always good to get new things, go for new stuff. All right, hands down by our sides. Let's lift our shoulders and pull our head in. Take a breath. Exhale, drop those shoulders. Let's do it. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Do it again. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. A little faster. One more. Good. Let's take the hands to the legs. Woo. I'm going to sink back just a little through the belly, not so I round the spine, but I was almost overly seated, overly seating. See, and those videos, they probably don't make any mistakes because they just retake it. Just sitting tall, not trying to arch my back forward. Tuck chin towards chest. Take right ear over to right shoulder. I think what will come out of all this is these the live stream comedy of all of us amateurs, just trying to share and trying to connect during this time. Certainly not ever what I thought I would do. I am very actual camera shy, not very photogenic. I'm usually the person in every picture with her eyes halfway closed and a really weird look on her face, like, holy crap, what happened to that girl? Like, that's usually me. So this is out of my comfort zone, and I've heard that over and over again with a lot of yoga teachers. So we may like to teach in front of classes, but that's a live class where no one's recording it. It's not being saved for a rainy day. It's live and it's over. And I hope you guys do save these just so that you can have something to do, but not necessarily am I excited that everybody can just hear maybe my idiosyncrasies, my tendencies over and over again. All right, chin to chest. Let's blink the eyes and gaze forward. Let's take our thumbs up to our shoulders and inhale to reach. On an exhale, arms are going to go wide. Did I mention you don't need to sit cross-legged? I hope so. Hands go behind your back, interlace your fingers, and pull your shoulder heads back and down. So I'm not going to tilt my eyes up to the ceiling. What I'm going to do is feel like my whole head is being lifted up. So think about your whole skull being lifted up. Your neck is just exponentially longer. If you can get the wrists together, do that and point the knuckles directly away from the shoulders. Just a little bit of a diagonal line back. Breathe. Let's hug the belly in one more time. Lift the chest, open the shoulders, and exhale down. Good, sink, sink, sink back. I'm going to take my hands to my knees, and I am going to round. Switch the position of your knees. I'm sorry, your feet, which will change the knees. Feet down, feet a little bit wider, and hands are still here. We're sinking the chest back. That's our exhale. As we find an inhale, let's come forward and lift. And exhale. Slide your hands down. Do something that encourages the entire back to open up. And inhale, front line of the body, open up. So now maybe you can feel free to lift the chin, but just check in with the neck. Make sure it's okay. Last time. All right, back to center. Let's take, shucks. I'm taking my feet back into cross legs. Shucks. You know, feet in front of you is fine too, if this doesn't work. Left hand down, right arm is gonna lift. As we take a side bend, gaze straight forward of your body for a moment. Take a breath in. On that exhale, I like to roll it down, add a little bit of a twist. Use your bottom hand. Inhale, open. So that bottom hand is super important. It's like your root. It's where maybe this action is even starting. From that bottom arm, inhale, lift, open. And exhale. Right, they are your roots. One more, inhale. And exhale. Let's push ourselves back up to center and on to the other side. Bend that elbow, lean over, gaze forward first, breathe in. And exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time. Let's come all the way back to center. Time to get up. I didn't really notice the time. Time is escaping. So we want to go ahead and take ourselves up to standing. Abort, abort, abort seated position. Come on up. Any way that works for you. Adjust your clothes. Maybe it's time to sip a little tiny sip of water. Here I go. Tiny little sip of water. As we come back to standing, you can keep going on your sips of water. We're going to do a standing I don't care. That's the name of it. That's literally how I learned it. It's called I don't care. I don't care. Oof. Let your arms be heavy. They sort of swing around and clunk against the body. Boosh. Boosh. Usually when I come to standing, my students are doing it. Then I go, oh yeah, let's do that. So this is a little different. I don't have my students helping me on what maybe, right, as a group, collectively feels good. So I'm trying to reach into the access of my mind, remembering, visualizing my room and my students' hip circles with somewhat of straight knees. So in case anyone's curious, the Yoga Nectar Studio was the name of this room right here when I used to teach yoga in the house. I did that for about 3 years, starting in 2011. We went to like 2014 or 2015, and I eventually changed the name to Yoga Nectar Shala, because house, but Facebook won't seem to let me change that name. If somebody knows how to change a name, just feel free to let me know, and I'm going to change the name to Yoga Nectar Shala. And I've just had that as a page for years and never done anything with it. And Facebook Live lets you do a little bit more if it's from a business page. So that's why I've switched over to Yoga Nectar Shala. All right, did you reverse direction? Are we having fun with our hips? Okay, let's come back to center. Let's walk our feet underneath our hips, bring our hands in front of heart center. All right, as we take a breath in from the feet, I want you to lift the hands up. So let that line, that energy root down and really rise all the way up to those fingertips. On an exhale, we're going to go into swan dive. Separate those arms, hinge at the hips. Bend your knees. That's the key to the grace. Half lift. Inhale, turn sideways. Yep. And hug. Go for the reverse swan dive. Separate the arms. Push through the feet. It's like you're floating. Float, float. Go for a swan dive again. Bend the knees. Back is flat. Half lift. Inhale. So if you're really new to yoga, maybe you're just watching. Maybe you need a mirror. It's a little hard to do without practice. Practice, practice, practice. Swan dive. Some people like to do this with their back rounded. I'm just always err on the side of caution, and the low back is in a weak position when it's rounded. Right? It squeezes the butt. Right? You have a strong butt action, but it can really not be the best position for the low back. So anyone with low back issues, you want to have a flat back as you travel up and down. Let's hug and go back into reverse swan dive. Come all the way up. Good. Bring the hands down in front of heart center. Blink the eyes. As you take a breath in, you're going to reach your hands forward. Turn your palms up. Right, let's share anything we have with our neighbors, right, with the world. Sink into chair. I heard a really beautiful version of COVID-19 Stay Inside. It's on my Deb Dinwiddie Schroeder page. It was pretty fantastic. Those people put a lot of energy into it. All right, so we're here. Our hips are back. Take a breath. Exhale. Bring them forward. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, bring it forward. Do it again. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, bring it forward. One more time. Inhale, reach it back. And exhale, reach it forward. Let's stay about here. Let's stay about here. Knees are bent. It's as if we're from tall and someone just took our head and went. So you're not trying to push your hips back. And then pick up your right heel. I've turned my face to gaze forward. This is the best position for your eyes. I'm looking at an inanimate object, one spot. And then we're going to switch. You can push that heel down first before you lift the other, or at the same time. Breathe. Keep going. How about both heels at the same time off the mat? So you don't have to keep them, you don't have to be on high toe point. You can be on medium, low. If the heels are separated from the ground, that's the balance. You're doing it. Breathe. One more breath. Push the heels down into the ground. Let's come all the way up. I want you to shake out your legs. Shake out your legs. Let's roll the ankles just a wee. Let's do a tiny little bit of flow to end our practice. It'll be a standing flow today. All right, so as we inhale, arms are going to go out to the side walls, lift all the way up. Let's do side bend. Go to the right first. Come up center and to the left. Back to the center, take a chair pose. Breathe in. On the exhale, we knuckle sweep down. Whoosh. Pull your arms forward. Rise. Scoop your hips underneath you. Get tall. Open those arms to swan dive. Find your half lift. Inhale. And hug. We'll roll to standing. Tuck your tail, tuck your chin. Come on up one vertebra at a time. Your inhale leaves you, so use your exhale. Lift the shoulders. Roll them back. Lower them down. Good. Begin again. Inhale. Arms out. Lift up. Side bend to the right of the room. Inhale up center. To the left. Back to the center and its chair. Take a breath. Let's go. And rise all the way up. Get super tall. Open your arms. Swan dive. Woo. We have our half lift. Inhale. Hug. Roll to standing. You gotta keep your knees bent. That's what gives the liquidity to the spine. That movement, the ability. Shoulders up, back, and down. Again, inhale. Side bend. Move and breathe. Chair pose. Take a breath in and let's go whoosh and rise. Open your arms, swan dive. Half lift. Hug. Get ready to roll on up. Inhale. Lift those shoulders, roll them back and lower them down. One more time. Inhale. We have side bends to the right. Come back up to center and to the left. Go for your chair pose. Take a breath. Exhale. Whoosh and rise. Swan dive. Half lift and hug. Roll to standing. Last time, last thing. Lift those shoulders up, pull them back and lower them down. Just adjust your clothes. Well, we're at the end of practice. You could keep moving. You could, if your mat is still there, if you have a mat, if it's still there, lay down, or you have a bed. Everybody has one of those. Go to your bed, right? Take a moment, just shut everything down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and give yourself that beautiful glow. That's the glow of Shavasana. As some people say, it is the most important pose. I just didn't really think you want to hang out there with me while I'm doing it. So I promise to do Shavasana now. Right, thank you for joining me today. May you be blessed. May you keep safe. Limit those runs to the store. All week, I was home 1 week, and I had to leave once to go to the studio to film, and then I went to the store one time. That's it. Oof. I stayed home for the rest of the time, except for my walks. Namaste. Love you.